Good morning, everybody. Here, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. It's an early morning for me. We got a couple of hours of sleep, and we're gonna be here for a rocket launch this morning. Obviously, that's what we do here. Nice, sleepy rocket launch. It is 5:45 in the morning here on the East Coast of the United States, where I am located, and what we're watching today is Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab, much smaller launch company. They're a U.S. launch company, but they fly out of New Zealand. They're going to launch from the Mahia Peninsula today, launching their Electron rocket, which is a much smaller rocket, usually launches like CubeSats, microsats, things like that. And that's what they're launching today. But the exciting thing is this is going to be the second time that they have actually attempted to perform recovery operations for their first stage booster. Now, they're not fully there yet. They're not ready to actually recover it and do the whole operation, but they're going to soft land it in the water, and they are going to recover it, not necessarily for reuse quite yet, but eventually they'll get there. So they're planning. I think the plan was to do 3 of these kind of soft ocean landings, and then they're going to move on to the helicopter catch. It's kind of a crazy. That'll be a crazy thing to see, where they're going to actually parachute it back down, scoop it up out of the air with a helicopter, and then set it on their recovery ship, bring it back, and fly it again. So that's what the plan is for Rocket Lab. But today, not doing the helicopter catch, just soft ocean parachute, soft ocean landing, and then they'll bring it back, see how it went for the actual flight, and they'll try again another time later this year. Not the next, I don't think it's the next launch, but they will try again later on this year. And then hopefully a few months after that, we'll be into helicopter recovery mode. So, all right. Well, good morning to everybody. I see everybody in the chat here. Rocket Lab is live. They've started their live stream right here, but they're not, obviously you can see, they're not really doing anything. So they're not expected to really say much until probably another 5 minutes or so. But we'll kind of run through what's happening here today. So just a bit of information here for you. What they're launching today. This is for the BlackSky constellation. These are Earth observation satellites. They do high resolution imagery of Earth. So this is Spaceflight Incorporated launching the BlackSky satellite. Part of the BlackSky satellite constellation. I think there's 2 of these microsatellites that are on board today that they're launching. This is gonna be the second ocean landing. We talked about that a little bit. Third Rocket Lab launch for 2021. They don't recover the payload fairings or anything like that. That's not part of Rocket Lab's thing. That's a SpaceX thing. Really, SpaceX is the only ones doing that right now. And this, like I said, these are microsatellites. So these 2 satellites, the payload here is about 260 pounds, about 120 kilograms of weight. So very, very small. Not a whole lot of payload here, but that's the entire point of the Electron rocket, is that they're trying to capture the small CubeSat, microsat market, try to make it inexpensive to get them into orbit. Rocket Lab did announce for many years, Peter Beck said they weren't going to go into big huge orbital vehicles or anything like that, but they did announce that they're building a neutron rocket, which is much bigger, much closer to like the Falcon 9, and they're working on that, but that's not something they're going to have until, I think they said 2024. So, hey, Johann Rudolph, thanks for the super chat there. Johan said, thanks for your continuous work. Greetings from DE. Why does it say DE? That seems like it should have been a flag, right? Why does it show up as DE in my chat? Seems like it should have been a flag, right? It's a German flag? Well, greetings, Johan. Thanks for your support there. Glad you're joining us here. It's probably a normal time of day for you. But yeah, for me, super early in the morning for this. There you go. Johan said, yes, it's a flag of Germany. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't show up. I figured that was the German flag, but it didn't show up as a flag for me. Interesting. Well, thanks for that. Let's see. And old gamer 2002 became a new member. Thanks, old gamer. Appreciate that as well. All right, let's take a look at what's in store for the actual flight today. Weather is looking pretty good for today. So we'll switch over to our weather map. It's looking pretty good. The only concern today is really going to be our upper level winds. So upper level winds is kind of a concern for today, but it seemed like everything was in good shape. Now here's New Zealand here, for those that are not familiar with Rocket Lab, because again, they are a smaller launch provider. Maybe you're not so familiar with them. You got Australia right here, right? Let's get our bearings here in the world. US, South America, China, Russia, Australia, New Zealand, right down here. What we're launching from is right up here, the Mahia Peninsula. It's probably the most gorgeous rocket launch site in the world. Like, I don't know how this is allowed, but it's the most gorgeous place, might be on the planet, just for anything. Forget just for rocket launches. Like where they launch from is just gorgeous. But anyways, they're launching from the Mahia Peninsula here. Generally, if you're gonna go watch a Rocket Lab launch, you would do it from over here off on the side. I don't know what road this is here, but usually this is kind of the viewing area would be up here. They're launching from down here, way down at the southern point, and they're gonna be launching in a southeasternly direction here. But winds looking pretty good at the ground level. It's really those nasty upper level winds that we're concerned about. 213 kilometers per hour. For my American friends, 132 miles per hour. It's a little quick. It's getting up there. It's a smaller launch vehicle. You can see the upper level winds here. That jet stream coming directly over New Zealand, screaming through 135 miles per hour. What do we say that is? 213 kilometers per hour. So yeah, those upper level winds, that's gonna be the concern for today. And I'm trying to keep like one eye on Rocket Lab's updates here, just to make sure we don't miss anything, because I could easily see that being a concern here for today. But it looks like they are pushing ahead, so we're in good shape so far. But yeah, that's really the only weather concern. But as far as trajectory, here's our launch trajectory here. It's kind of more of a east-southeast trajectory here, not so much southeast, but yeah, launching from the Mahia Peninsula right here. We can kind of zoom in. You can see their launch facilities a little bit. This is the launch pad right here. It's kind of a blurry view. But this is their Launch Complex 1. They are building Launch Complex 2, which will be in Virginia, Wallops Island, here in the United States. That will be their second launch complex. But right here, this is Launch Complex 1 for them, where they're launching from here. Heading up under powered flight, obviously, we'll get a little separation event right there. First and second stage will separate. The first stage is going to come back, land somewhere in this region-ish. Soft land in the ocean, right down here. So it's going to come back. It'll come under drogue parachutes, slow down, go subsonic, and then it'll deploy the main parachute. And I said parachutes. I think there's only one. So they'll deploy the main parachute, and then just kind of soft land down in the ocean right there. And then second stage, actually those are your payload. Are these payload fairings? No, those are not payload fairings. These are your payload fairings, I think. I guess that's what that telemetry is showing. This is our first stage, because I know it's landing near these islands here. That should be our first stage right there. Second stage, that should be payload fairings right there. And then second stage, obviously, is going to continue on into orbit. And then they also will... Oh, whoa. And the Earth is gone. Where did Earth go? Earth? Are you there? Okay. Okay. Well, Flight Club, this is telemetry is generally pretty awesome, courtesy of, oh, there we go. We were just like super ultra zoomed in on Antarctica. Cool. Let's see if I can recover the there we go. There, that's what I was trying to do. So, anyways, kind of heading in this direction. That it's going to end up going in kind of like a, I forget what the inclination is. Let's see if I have that inclination. I don't have it. I don't see it. You broke Earth, says Tempestate. You broke Earth. It's gone. What's this program called? This is courtesy of flightclub.io. So you can go to flightclub.io. That's a website. That's a website address. Just go to your web browser, type in flightclub.io, and you can play around with this. This is a launch simulation. They do it for pretty much any and every launch that you want to take a look at. You can see the telemetry. There's also a whole bunch of like graphs and visualizations if you want to see like how many G's it pulls, what the acceleration is, what the velocity is, altitude, all that kind of stuff. You can see right here at flightclub.io. It's pretty awesome. So anyways, that's our trajectory here today. Heading this direction. There is going to be a ignition of their third kick stage, the Curie kick stage. That as well, that's about 50 minutes into flight. I don't know if Rocket Lab will stay live that long. A lot of times they cut it off after second stage cutoff. So that's what's in store for today. And I think, let's see, Rocket Lab is live. Are they talking yet? Nope, I hear no talking, so we'll just kind of hang out here for a bit. Let me get, so my clock is about a minute off, it looks like. Let me match up my clock to their clock. And let's see if we can get that.
We're approaching T-minus 12 minutes in the count, and soon our operators will be run through the go, no-go poll by this mission's launch director, Sean DeMello. Let's listen in to mission control and check how we're tracking for launch.
All right, there we go. So just updated it. So there, now my clock is right on. So you can keep an eye on my clock there because their clock is behind me, so you can't really see it very well. But let's see. I saw a couple other chats come in. Carrie Ann, thanks for the super sticker.
All stations, LD and mission, proceeding with a go-no-go sequence at this time.
Here we go.
Looking for your status to proceed for launch. Stage.
Status go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
VCon.
VCon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
Mission management.
MM is go.
Recovery.
Recovery is go.
LD sub.
LD sub go.
Executive.
Executive is go.
Go-no-go sequence complete. We are at 11 minutes, 12 seconds and counting. We're go for terminal count start at T-minus 10 minutes. From this point on, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
Looking good,
There you
all right.
have it. That's confirmation from Mission Control that all systems are go and will be proceeding with the remainder of the count. Liftoff remains scheduled for 10:08 p.m. New Zealand local time or 10:08 a.m. UTC. Now to this launch's primary mission objective. Running out of tows is our third mission for 2021 and the first of several dedicated launches this year for BlackSky, which provides geospatial intelligence and global monitoring services through their low Earth orbit constellation. Electron will be launching 2 of these satellites at a 50-degree inclination from Launch Complex 1 and deploying them to a 430-kilometer orbit. Once in space, these Gen 2 satellites will mean BlackSky can better deliver insights to decision makers, responding to disasters, or tracking economic activity across the globe. Here's more from BlackSky.
Oh, all right. So it looks like they're gonna play some music here. So I'll let this play. I'll let this play in the background. You can kind of keep an eye on it, even though my stuff is in the way. But I do kind of want to keep our timeline up so that we can see what's going on. But yeah, looks like we're pressing on, and we're good to go here. So they did the final go/no-go polling. Next thing that's really coming up is going to be our battery checks. Remember, the Electron rocket is the only electric powered turbo pumps. I don't think it's called a turbo pump. It's just electric pump for the fuel for the actual engines themselves. So it is electric battery powered instead of being powered by the actual onboard fuel itself. So they have giant batteries on board that power the those electric. I'm going to call them electric turbo pumps. I don't know what else to call them. Somebody told me at one point what to call, but I'm going to call them electric turbo pumps. I think turbo pump indicates that it's powered by fuel, though, so it's kind of a oxymoron. But anyways, the electric turbo pumps, they have giant batteries on board. We'll actually see, after launch, we'll see something called battery hot swap. So there's 3 batteries on board. They power the rocket with 2 of them during the initial flight stages, and then to save weight, which you wouldn't necessarily think that that having those batteries on board would be that much weight, but to save weight, they will jettison 2 of them, because every ounce counts. So they're going to jettison 2 of the batteries, switch over during that hot swap maneuver to the 3rd battery. Hot swap just essentially means they're going to switch power like while it's being used. So they're not going to shut anything down to do that power transfer, but they will swap over to that 3rd battery to finish out the flight of that. So look for battery hot swap coming up towards the it's about I think it's like 6 minutes into flight will be a battery hot swap.
On our Look Ma No Hands mission. The 3rd BlackSky launch on Electron was this year on our They Go Up So Fast rideshare mission in March. Tonight's mission is part of an overall deal to deploy 9 BlackSky satellites across 5 Electron missions this year that delivers them the rapid launch capability they need to expand their constellation quickly.
See, Keys became a member. Thanks, Keys. Thanks for joining in on the team. Appreciate your support there. Let's see. And, Kenneth Otto, thanks for the super chat there as well. Kenneth says, thank you, Tori. Well, thank you, Kenneth. Appreciate your support. Thanks for jumping in, joining us here today, tonight, this morning, wherever you're located. KDB, one of our members, says, let Tori know I'm nearby for this. Are you? Yeah, KDB's down there. I thought KDB was in Australia. Or are you New Zealand, KDB? All right, we're 7 minutes in, so the strongback should start the retraction process here shortly.
For the team here at Rocket Lab, this mission also marks a couple of fantastic achievements, because tonight's launch will be the 20th time Electron leaves the pad, powered by our 200th Rutherford engine. It's incredible to think that we've built, tested and fired 200 of our unique 3D printed electric pump-fed engines. Rutherford is the world's first 3D printed orbital rocket engine, a unique design that went against the grain of traditional rocket propulsion systems when we first introduced the idea. Rutherford also made space travel electric by replacing the traditional gas generator cycle with electric pumps powered by lithium polymer batteries. This mission is one for the history books, so we sat down with some of the team who helped make it happen to talk through their experiences of our first 20 Electron launches.
What we have here is just a completely, defiant group of people who really want to execute and see things succeed.
Well, all right. So they're gonna play. If they're gonna play music, I'm not gonna be able to turn that volume up. But we'll keep an eye on it at least, because we're about 5.5 minutes to go. Looks like they're pushing ahead. Really, the only concern was that weather, those upper level winds. But it's looking like that's not gonna be an issue. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll kind of knock on wood there. Let's see. We'll grab a couple of other. Let's jump in a couple of our comments here. Give the Facebook people some love here. Joanna said, good morning from a dreary, wet Wolverhampton, England. I have no idea where that is, but thanks for joining us, Joanna. Let's see. Christian over on Facebook. Greetings from down under. A couple people maybe local there. I think it's still, isn't it? It's still like the middle of the night down there, isn't it? What'd they say? It's like 10 p.m. local time in New Zealand, so it's the middle of the night launch for them. Middle of the night launch for me. It's like 6, although it's probably daylight now. When I came to the studio, it was night, but it's probably daylight now because now it's about 6 a.m. my time. Let's see. Manchester, UK is where Linda's watching from over on Facebook. Thanks for joining in here today. A couple of people asked about what's with the running out of toes. Yeah, and Kenneth points out that running out of toes is it's basically just they're referencing the fact that this is the 20th flight. So they're counting, they're using their fingers and their toes to count, and this is flight number 20. So they're out of fingers and toes. They can't count their flights anymore. So Rocket Lab's been known for their quirky mission titles, I should say. So they haven't been flying for very long. I think 2017 was their first flight. So they haven't been going for very long. But yeah, this is flight number 20 for them. Actually, I can't believe they're up to 20. Seems kind of crazy.
Electron's payload remains healthy, and the weather is looking clear for an on-time launch.
Sweet.
We're approaching a critical juncture in the lead-up to launch now, the switch to the countdown auto sequence. In T-minus 2 minutes, the autonomous flight computers on Electron will take over the count. At around T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds, we should hear the call that LOX loading is complete on Electron. And then shortly after that, we can expect confirmation that the launch vehicle's first and second stages are pressurized for launch, followed by the 10-second countdown to liftoff with engine ignition at T-minus 3 seconds. Let's hand over now to Mission Control and listen in for those calls.
We are go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes.
HV blips nominal.
Confirm LDs go for launch.
Hold.
Oh no!
Gotta hold. Recycling T-minus 12 minutes. All stations stand by for recycle to T-minus 12 minutes.
All right, well, we've got to hold. But there is still time in the window. I was really hoping they weren't going to hold, but
GC confirm a launch inhibit mode.
looks like we got to hold here. Call the hold at 2 minutes.
Still in prime mode. Confirmed.
Okay, we're in inhibit at this time.
Well, it is a long window. There's 2 hours in this window, and we're at the beginning of it. So they could potentially launch in the next 2 hours. Kind of
We
hoping.
heard it there from Mission Control in Auckland. Right now, Electron has entered a hold while our operators work on establishing a new T0 time. We'll continue to broadcast while we wait for an update from the team. In the event of an extended hold, we'll provide an update via our social media channels. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with you soon.
Yep, well, we don't know what the hold is for, but we've got some sort of hold. And right after the launch director gave the go for launch. We were only 2 minutes and 13 seconds away. But it could be okay. It could be okay. They might still launch today. Like I said, we've got a 2-hour window. I'm hoping we don't use that whole 2-hour window. But they could recycle. They would automatically recycle the clock to T-minus 12 minutes. That's kind of the minimum amount of time that they would need to restart. So the launch won't be no sooner than 12 minutes from now, but that's not even realistic. Like, they're going to need time to... Oh, hello. They turned up the music on us there. Yeah, so they're going to need time to diagnose what happened, figure out what the cause is. So we gotta figure out what the hold is for. That's a bummer. But yeah, I mean, it could be, as Caspera said, high upper level winds. That could be the case. Could be high upper level winds. I don't know if they tweeted about it or anything. Did they post any updates? But we've definitely got... Oh, yep, they did. Rocket Lab says we've got a hold. Electron has entered a hold due to upper level winds, and we're recycling to T-minus 12 minutes. Stay tuned for an updated T0. So yeah, that's the just like we were saying, those upper level winds looking pretty fierce. Here's our upper level winds this morning. We were just looking at this. Upper level winds, let's, what are we at? Like here, we'll just refresh, make sure we've got the latest updated data here. Upper level winds, 213 kilometers per hour. That's 132 miles per hour. If you want it in knots, what's that? 115 knots. So yeah, those upper level winds, pretty quick right there. You can see the jet stream right here, that's this dark purple. That's basically, this is upper level winds. And when we talk about upper level winds, we're talking about 30 to 40,000 feet, which is about 10 to 12 kilometers in altitude. That's what we're talking about when we're talking upper level winds. So it's those winds that are right about where like an airliner would fly. So yeah, those are, and the problem with the upper level winds is that those can be, it can be like running into a concrete wall essentially for a rocket. Because let's get out our models. I don't have an Electron model. I need an Electron model. But your upper level wind, your rockets, right? Rockets have a lot. Let me back up here. This model is too big for my camera. Rockets have a lot of strength this way, right? They have a lot of vertical strength. They don't have a lot of horizontal strength. And so when you're flying through upper level winds, if they're super high, right, so you're going to get up to altitude, and all of a sudden those upper level winds, like it's not 213 kilometers per hour all the way up, right? Ground level winds are actually quite calm. 12 miles per hour. What's that in kilometers per hour? 20 kilometers per hour. So they're quite calm at ground level. You bump up to 2 kilometers in altitude, they're at 37 kilometers per hour. Bump up to, let's go to like 4.2 kilometers in altitude, that's 70 kilometers per hour. And then all of a sudden, you get up to 12 kilometers and boom, 213 kilometers per hour. So that quick gradient going from 70 to 200 kilometers per hour, that's the problem. All of a sudden, your rocket going through that atmosphere hits that 200 kilometer per hour wind. It's like, boom, it just hammers the side of it, right? The engines then have to correct and say, whoa, we're going off course. It's going to pull it back this way. Winds are going to push it. It's going to try to correct, and you're going to get this kind of movement. It's not going to be quite that drastic, but you get, that's the problem, is the rocket starts doing this. And it's not meant to do that. It's not, you can't fly like this. You're going to get tweaking and a lot of forces on the vehicle. It also happens to be usually right about the point of max Q, maximum dynamic pressure, where the pressure from the atmosphere combined with the accelerating speed of the vehicle puts the most force on the vehicle. So right there at that upper level wind point, you have max Q happening and those upper level winds coming in all at the same point. It's really, that's why that's kind of the most dangerous. It's not really I wouldn't say dangerous. The most stressful part of flight is right there when they encounter upper level winds. So that's get myself back into position here. So yeah, that's the major concern when it comes to upper level winds. Let's see. Tyson says, do you work for NASA? No, I don't work for NASA. Just a big fan. Jetstream isn't going anywhere for a while. Yeah, I was actually kind of, when I was looking at our weather here, getting prepared for this, I was actually kind of surprised that they were pushing for this today. Because, I mean, these are high upper level winds. This is pretty high. The window goes until about 8 a.m. my time, and the upper level winds are going up. Like they're not trending downwards. They're trending up. So, yeah, I was kind of surprised that they were even going to go for it today, because 2 hours from now, those upper level winds are now 225 kilometers per hour. And for all of my American friends that don't understand, that's 140 miles per hour for those upper level winds. So they're not coming down unless they're trying to just thread the needle. That could be the case, but it seems like that would be a really, really small window of opportunity. But there you go. Peter Beck just tweeted as well. Peter is the CEO of Rocket Lab. He said, upper level winds are blowing strong. We will wait a little and see if they calm down. I'm not so sure about that. Well, whether they're going to calm down. It seems like they're not trending in a good direction for today. But I guess we'll just hang out and see. The high-speed upper-level winds could shift past the launch path. That's from Heat Shield. I'm not sure I quite follow that, but yeah, I mean, that is... So, you know, there are... The rocket is... The engines are generally powerful enough to correct the actual trajectory. So if the winds start to push it off, the engines themselves are powerful enough to correct that trajectory and get it back on path. The problem is that doing so imparts very strong forces on the vehicle, and that's where I was talking about that little bit of the wind wobble. You get that wind wobble, and that's where you could get vehicle breakup. You could get things that break. The vehicle could stay intact, but you could get pieces that break on the vehicle. It's just not a great situation there. So let's see. I saw a couple super stickers come through from Keys. Thanks, Keys. I saw a couple from Tyson as well. Thanks, Tyson. Appreciate that. And Ivan Markovic became a new member. Thanks, Ivan. Thanks for your support there. Light the candle. Let's launch it, says Raphael. Well, we're gonna be waiting a little while. There's Electron on the pad. They've reset the count to T-minus 12 minutes. That's part of normal abort procedures. That does not indicate that we actually have a new launch time. So anytime there's an abort, it's the same as SpaceX. Anytime there's an abort, SpaceX will recycle the count automatically to T-minus 15 minutes. Rocket Lab automatically recycles their count to T-minus 12 minutes. That's where they're at right now, is T-minus 12 minutes and holding. And now we're just kind of waiting for a new T0. One thing to keep in mind as we look at the rocket, I know it's kind of dark and a little bit difficult to see, but we see a lot of white on the rocket. This is not... I always try to remind people that this is not a black and white rocket. This is a black rocket. It is black. There's a little bit of red on it, but because of the reusability, they put red on the reusable ones. But this is a black rocket. The white parts of the rocket is just ice building up on the side from that super cold, densified liquid oxygen there. So you're actually seeing the black rocket covered in ice. So right here, you can see these white patches on the second stage here. That is ice covering the second stage. And then on the first, we can't see it here, but on the first stage, you'll see it as well. I mean, it's pretty much a mostly black rocket, and those big sections of white is ice on them. Kind of interesting. Let's see. So how high do those winds go? Is it a few seconds or longer to get through? Yeah, it's generally just a few seconds to get through those upper level winds, but it's the problem is they come on very quickly. And the engines have to make a very rapid correction there. So it's usually those upper level winds are only between about 30 to 40,000 feet in altitude, which is about 10 to 12 kilometers in altitude. That's really your upper level wind. I mean, it can widen a little bit, you know, plus or minus that range, but it's not much. So it's generally 10 to 12 kilometers in altitude. I mean, it could go a little bit higher than that, but that's usually the range that we're talking about for upper level winds. And yeah, they're only in there for a few seconds, but it's that initial hit of those upper level winds as you're coming through the atmosphere. I mean, that upper level wind layer is kind of well, not always, but it can be a very clear definition where you have like relatively calm winds and then all of a sudden, boom, upper level winds. And it's that boom, that's the problem. So could that ice destabilize the rocket if it builds up too much? No, I don't think the ice is really much of a problem. It's actually planned for. They know that the ice is going to build up. It's actually relatively consistent. A lot of it will break off as it like during the actual launch itself, but it is something they do have to consider during calculations because it's going to add some weight to the rocket. So it is planned for and accounted for. What's inside the fairings? So they're launching 2 microsatellites today for BlackSky. Well, hopefully today. Right now we're at a hold, but 2 microsatellites for BlackSky. for Spaceflight Incorporated as part of the BlackSky constellation. So these are Earth observation satellites. They take super high resolution imagery of planet Earth, allow for surveillance and observations and things like that. No launch today. Well, we don't know that yet. Although, unless something news come out, but now Peter Beck. So Peter Beck just tweeted. He said that they're just bumping either side of the go no go limits. So it sounds like they're like right at the limit. And they're just bumping around, you know, it's probably bumping high and bumping low, you know, below that limit there. Which sounds about right. Usually, at least for SpaceX launches, I start to get concerned when those upper level winds get to about 140 miles per hour. And we were sitting at 132 miles per hour. There's about, what did we say, 213 kilometers per hour. So it is like right at the top end of those limitations that I would normally expect for like SpaceX. I don't know what Rocket Lab's limitations are, but yeah, that's they're up there. And according to Peter Beck, it sounds like they're just kind of bouncing around a little bit. And the upper level winds too. So generally, to measure upper level winds, you're using weather balloons to do that. And usually they're launching weather balloons about every 30 minutes. They're launching those weather balloons, but they do them one right after another. They could do them more frequently, especially if they're expecting upper level winds to be a problem. They could potentially do them more frequently. I don't know. Occasionally, let me check real quick. There are some amateur trackers that in the past have picked up the Rocket Lab radiosondes for upper level winds. I don't see any being picked up right now. But occasionally that can happen. Which, if you're interested, if you're anywhere near a rocket launch site and you want to help try to pick up those radiosondes locally yourself with, I don't know, it's about $100 worth of equipment. It's relatively easy to do. Join our Discord. That's free. And our friends in the Weather Balloon channel can let you know how to set up a radiosonde tracker so that you can, and you don't have to be by a rocket launch site. You could be pretty much anywhere, just about anywhere in the world. They launch these radiosondes all over the place just for your regular weather forecasts and things like that. So you can do it pretty much anywhere. But specifically, we're trying to find people that are near rocket launch sites, because it would be great for times like this if there was somebody local there that had set up a radiosonde tracker. We could look at it right now and be like, all right, let's look at the latest radiosonde. This is exactly what those upper level winds measured 10 minutes ago from the radiosonde that passed through. But we don't have anybody local right now, or at least nobody that's picking them up. So if we look at our the sondhub.org tracker here. Our closest amateur receiving stations are down here in Wellington. So Rocket Lab launches out here. We've got one up here in Auckland, a couple down here in the Wellington area. Those are our closest amateur trackers. Nothing really over here by the Mahia Peninsula. Occasionally, the one down here in Wellington can pick it up. It's got to be really high in the sky in order for it to pick it up. Plus, it's got to be, usually the winds have to be blowing kind of down the coast here in order for it to stay in range. But yeah, that's the best. That's the best we have. Is right there.
The count is no earlier than 1111.
All right, I was going to turn... All right, I was going to turn up the volume, but they still have music going on. Mission Control was just chatting. They said expected time to pick up the count would be 1139 UTC. So that would be like, that's going to be like what is that? That's over an hour from now. That would be towards the end of the window. So that could mean that we get a long wait here. I was really hoping that would not be the case, but because yeah, what are we at right now? We're at 10:26 UTC. They're saying expected time to pick up the count would be 1139 UTC, 1139 UTC. So we're over an hour away. Please not a 3-hour hold. Well, we can't have a 3-hour hold because the window is only open for another hour and a half. So at most, the hold is an hour and a half. After that, they're out of their launch window. The Earth will have rotated outside of their launch parameters there. So we won't have a hold that's that long. So much for waking up early. I know, right? It would have been nice if they would have just pushed this off at the beginning. I could have gone back to bed. Could have stayed in bed for another hour and a half. Waiting for launch. Okay, well, in the meantime, we'll fly our own rockets. Will you be streaming the SpaceX launch later today? No, unfortunately, I gotta work later today, so I won't be around to stream the SpaceX Starlink launch later tonight. So I'm not gonna cover that one. There's KDB. KDB's down in New Zealand. She says, while we have this hold, I'm in Waikiki. That's an awesome sounding name right there. For this, about 35 well, let's look and see. Where's our map? Oh, I don't think I have city names in our map. Let me close some of this stuff that I have open here. I want to make sure that we can run things successfully without crashing my computer, hopefully. Okay, I'm just closing a couple windows because we're getting our we're gonna get Kerbal open. Let's see. Okay, so going back to what KDB said, while we have this hold, I'm in Waikiki for this, about 35 kilometers, 21 miles away. It's 13 degrees Celsius, 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't mind sitting out for this until it launches or scrubs. Then I have a bit of a drive back to my work team. That's pretty awesome that you get to see that. Hopefully you get to see it if they launch today. I don't know, those winds, I don't see those winds improving very much. I mean, again, here's where we're at right now. Switch over to our metric here. 213 kilometers per hour, trending to 226 kilometers per hour. It's going the wrong direction. So that's a problem. Let's see. Virginia says I had to replace my desktop last week. I know the feeling on computer crashes. Yeah. The problem is live streaming. A lot of people don't realize this until maybe you try it for yourself. But live streaming and video encoding takes a lot of resources, especially because I'm streaming it at 1080p and 60 frames per second. That takes a lot of power on your computer. I have a pretty powerful computer that's way more powerful than kind of your average office desktop. It's basically a gaming computer is essentially what it is. If you ever want to do live streaming and you want something that's going to be good, that's going to perform well for live streaming, you need a gaming computer to do the live streaming, because in order to do high quality gaming, it's really the same stuff that you're using for live streaming. So you need a good graphics card, you need a good processor, you need some fast and fast memory. So yeah, the computer itself that I have here is pretty powerful, but the more stuff you start adding, generally when I'm live streaming, I usually have like maybe 20 browser tabs open, plus my OBS streaming, plus now I'm opening Kerbal, plus I'm running music in the background, plus it's running my camera. So there's just a lot of stuff I'm asking my computer to do. Some people, a lot of gamers will actually operate 2 completely separate computers to do gaming and streaming at the same time. They'll have one computer that does just the gaming and the other computer that does all their streaming stuff. So, how many monitors do you have? On this computer, I have 3 monitors. Or no, sorry, I have 4 monitors. I forgot about. I always forget. There's a monitor right here. So I have basically a teleprompter. There's no script here, but my teleprompter allows me to look at myself in the camera. So when I look directly at the camera lens, I'm actually looking at my 4th monitor, because the camera is behind the teleprompter. So the 4th monitor is like laying flat horizontal underneath, and it's bouncing off the teleprompter. So yeah, I have 4 monitors here. 3 of them which do my normal stuff and browser windows and streaming and stuff like that, and then the 4th one is the one that I see through the teleprompter. The teleprompter, really, there's no script here. You guys probably know this by now. There's no script here, unless I'm doing a scripted video. But for these, there's no script. But the teleprompter is nice because then I can look at you all, and you feel connected to me, right? We feel like we have a connection. I can look right at you instead of looking at myself in my monitor that's down here. I try not to do that, although I usually have to look away to read chat. Let's see. Tyson says, I wish I could stay up and watch this, but I picked a bad time to watch. I need to sleep. Yeah, I know. Me too. I want to go back to bed. Somebody asked me what kind of graphics card I have. Yeah, might have been 72 Galaxy Tank Girl. Yeah, I have a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super. So it's a pretty good graphics card. Why is the launch in a hold? We're in a hold due to upper level winds exceeding the upper level wind limit. So we are they're trying to thread the needle and find a time when they can launch through the upper level winds. They're like right at the upper level limit of the upper level winds. How many upper levels can we say? So yeah, they're way at the top end there. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna get through it, but they seem like they're gonna try. All right, if they start talking again, somebody let me know, because I'm gonna get our Kerbal started. And we're gonna fly our own rocket. If they're not gonna fly, I'm gonna fly. Let's see. Jerry keeps asking me, are you cool? No. Nope, not at all. Not cool at all. So, yeah. I don't know what kind of question that is here. What am I supposed to say to that? All right, let's go. Let's see. Current UTC is 10:33. Window ends at 11:39 UTC. 1 hour and 6 minutes. I think the window goes longer than that. I think 11:39 UTC is when they were hoping to start the count, but I think the window goes until 12 UTC. Let me see. Let me make sure. Let me see if I got... Let me make sure I got my numbers right. Where's my... Where'd the press kit go? I think I closed it. I closed it in my purge of open browser windows. Let's see. All right, open the press kit right there. There it is. Yeah, so it goes to the window today goes to 12:05 UTC. So here, we'll throw this over here real quick. Let me drop myself in the corner. So this is the Rocket Lab press kit here for the running out of toes mission here. Launch information, launch windows. They got a 14-day launch window shown here, and we're basically on day 1. So that first day here, May 15th, launch window goes for UTC. It's from 10 to 12:05, which my time, that's 6 to 8:05 a.m. Eastern time. That's where I'm located. Local time in New Zealand, it's 2200, which is 10 p.m. to 0:05. That's 5 minutes past midnight. So yeah, that's the window we have right here. And the window, there were a couple. Somebody else asked, like, why are launch windows limited in time? But basically, they're trying to hit a very specific orbit, right? And the Earth is spinning. So if you're trying to hit that orbit, you have to, well, we might just show this in Kerbal. But basically, you're waiting to launch until the Earth rotates into the orbit that you want to be in. Now, there's a window there because your rocket has some performance margin, right? So you can launch slightly outside of your target orbit, and the rocket can correct and get itself into the target orbit. And, you know, after launch, or your payload itself. A lot of times, your satellite payload or the Curie kick stage, or you know, those can have the capabilities to correct and move the vehicle into the correct orbit after launch. But they're limited. They only have so much fuel on board. They can only correct so much. So based on how there's different margins for every single flight. Like some flights have instantaneous launch windows. Some flights have 20-minute launch windows. Some flights can have 4-hour launch windows and still be able to maneuver into a good orbit. But generally, all the vehicles are going to have some sort of launch window because you're not going to be able to maneuver your vehicle or your spacecraft into the correct orbit if the Earth rotates too far past your orbit. So that's basically what's happening with the orbital windows, is you're waiting. You know, if you want to hit a certain path, you have to wait until the Earth rotates into that path. That's the opening of your window. And then it's going to keep rotating, keep rotating, keep rotating, keep rotating. And eventually you're going to get to the end of it where, all right, the spacecraft is not going to, we're going to miss it. We missed the bus, right? So that's the idea with launch windows. So, okay, so we'll go back to, maybe we'll show that in Kerbal here a little bit. See if there's any updates. Earliest possible launch time for the Electron rocket could be 7:23 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 11:23 UTC, pending verification of acceptable upper level winds. All right, so it sounds like we could be in for a 40-minute delay from now. That would be the earliest possible time. So earliest possible launch is about 40 minutes from now. Did they restart the count? I don't believe they did. No, we're still at 12 minutes and holding. How long before we get any updates? I mean, they're just sitting there watching the upper level wind. So generally those upper level winds, most of the time they're launching balloons every 30 minutes. And there's likely one, so they launch one, it collects the data, they evaluate the data, but this next one is going to launch right behind it, even after they've evaluated the data. So usually they launch one. It's going to take probably 10, 20 minutes to actually get up to altitude, but they launch the next one behind it. So they don't wait to evaluate the data. They're just launching them like clockwork, those weather balloons. So there's one climbing to altitude to measure those upper level winds, and then there's going to be one right behind it climbing again to measure them right after that. So really, they're just going to be sitting there waiting for the next weather balloon to climb to altitude, look at the winds. They're going to say yes or no. So, are balloons the only way to measure upper level winds? Generally, that's our most that's the most accurate way to measure upper level winds, especially like hyper local upper level winds, like you would want for a rocket launch. So yeah, generally that's the best way. I mean, there are there are weather satellites that can do stuff with wind and thermal monitoring, stuff like that. But I don't think you get the granularity and the accuracy that you would get from weather balloons. That's why weather balloons are still very, very widely used. How much does it cost to launch a balloon? Well, for our balloons, it probably costs anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per balloon. But the balloons that they're launching are probably going to be less than that. Let me think about this. So you got probably about $50 for the balloon. For what they're launching, it's probably $50 for the balloon. It's probably $70, $80 worth of helium. And then you've got the radiosonde itself. You've got a parachute that's like $2. And you've got the radiosonde itself, which I don't know what their radiosondes cost, but let's say it's $100 for the radiosonde. So you're probably talking each weather balloon is probably $150 to $200 worth of expendable equipment. Between your three biggest costs are going to be the balloon, which they probably, I'm quoting $50 a balloon. I mean, that's like retail costs for somebody like a Rocket Lab. They're going to buy thousands of balloons all at once. They probably get a better deal than I do. So yeah, they might be paying, $30 a balloon or $20 a balloon. But they, so yeah, maybe $100 to $200, we'll say. Helium is probably the big cost. Helium's expensive. Although they're also buying a lot of that, because a lot of times the rocket itself will use helium to backfill and pressurize the vehicle. So yeah, I would say $100 to $200 per balloon is what it costs for those. Yeah, and it's Rigid says it's worth the cost to launch more balloons for such an important investment. Yeah, if you consider, you're launching a rocket that's worth millions and millions of dollars, to launch a $100 weather balloon to make sure that your rocket's going to be safe, not a big deal.
The clock is currently held at T-minus 12 minutes, so while we wait for that new T0, let's take a look back at our first recovery mission back in November last year.
Are they going to play music?
Congratulations.
Oh, they're playing music. Oh, that's a bummer. All right, so I can't play it because they're playing music, and I don't have the rights to their music, but we'll watch it. We'll keep it up there. Maybe I'll switch over to this view because we got a hold, so there's no point in showing the events list. I do like this. You can look at those green springs on the side over there. Those are really cool. Like way over, you can see them way over here. These big giant spring pushers. We talk about those all the time. Those spring pushers. We never really get to see them. But that was video from inside the first stage as the second stage was being pushed away, which was pretty cool. All right. Well, while Peter is they're talking about yeah, I just can't play I can't play what they're talking about because they got music in the background, so All right. Well, why don't we launch? Why don't we launch something? Do I have a? I don't know if I have an Electron. I don't think I have an Electron in Kerbal. Do I? Some of these don't work. I'm missing parts. Yeah, see that? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm missing parts. I shouldn't be missing parts, but I am. We got Soyuz. We've got Falcon 9. We got Atlas 5. We got Atlas Agena. Delta. Delta 2. Will that load or that? No, that won't load. I don't know why all these are missing so many parts. But I don't have an Electron. It'd be cool if I had an Electron. It kind of looks like an Electron. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it kind of looks like an Electron, right? Let's get... Oh, that kind of looks like a... It looks like the Saturn V if I put that paint job on. All right, let's go... Let's do that. We got a payload there. Yeah, all right, let's do this. Is Falcon 9 bigger than Rocket Lab's rocket? Yes, much bigger. Much bigger. The Rocket Lab Electron is way, way smaller. Like, you can stand next to... they were showing it here. They're not showing it now. But you can, like, when Rocket Lab's vehicle is, like, laying horizontal in their building, you can stand next to it and just put your hand on it. Like, it's not that... What's the dimensions of it? It's not that big. It's a relatively small rocket, especially when you're considering we're only launching about 260 pounds into orbit today. So it's very, very small. It's 56 feet or 17 meters in height, and the diameter is only it's just under 4 feet or 1.2 meters in diameter. So it's not a very big vehicle. When you compare that to like the Falcon 9. Where's my dimensions for the Falcon 9? The Falcon 9 is 230 feet or 70 meters tall. That's like, what is that? Like 5 times the height. And the diameter, Falcon 9 is 12 feet or 3.7 meters in diameter. So yeah, Falcon 9 is a much, much bigger vehicle. All right, let's go. Why don't we launch something here? We're going to try to launch... I don't know what this vehicle is supposed to be, but... Let's launch one of these. Why don't we put... I'm going to try to put a parachute on this. Can I do that? Oh, now I broke it. Let's see. Connect that back in. Let me load it again. What are these other ones? Let me look at these other ones here. Oh, this is like a sounding rocket, like the one they're trying to launch from Wallops. Did that one launch yet? I don't think it did. Did it? That's actually kind of cool. Sounding rocket there. Let's see. Let's look at this one. What's this one? Oh, that's a little bigger. Oh, and does this have... Oh no, I thought maybe it had tracks on it. Let me see what else we got. There's a couple of... These are all like mobile launch platforms. That's an interesting one. I think we're going to try to launch that Electron looking one. That's an interesting one. What's this one? Oh, that's the big Saturn V. This is the space shuttle one. You can see the beanie right there. Never, what is this? Never gonna happen 3000. This is, oh, that's the one. That's the one that I made. I made this. This was our Starship Falcon Super Monster Heavy. This is with the Starship on top of the Falcon Heavy. I forgot about that already. All right, let's launch. Let's launch this. Where'd it go? I lost it. Let me just double. Let me make sure I don't have an actual Electron, which I don't think I do. We got a lot of Starship stuff, some Soyuz, some Falcon 9s. Yeah, no. All right, so we'll launch this guy. We vote that one. Everybody wants the crazy one. Let's see if we can get this guy into orbit here. Snowy W over on Twitch said, "Hi Tori, was wondering what the best way to support the Overlook Horizon team is." The best way, if you want to be a supporter for Overlook Horizon, the easiest way is to just come back and watch the videos. But if you're looking for like more direct supports, like a financial support, probably the best option would be to become a Patreon member. You get access to our behind the scenes Patreon only chat. That would probably be that's the best way, or a YouTube channel member. Patreon's generally it's better financially for our nonprofit because YouTube takes a big cut of the channel memberships, but Patreon's better. If you're looking for a tax deductible donation and you're in the United States, you could donate to Overlook Horizon because Overlook Horizon is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization here in the United States. So any of those donations go to Overlook Horizon, not to me. So, all right, what do you think? Can we try to land all of those in one launch? I feel like we should. Well, let's check. I gotta mute this so I can turn up this volume. Let's launch this just because we got a rocket lab happening. And then we're going to go to like the Falcon 9 and we'll try to do landing. Because everybody likes when I try to do landing. Because I'm so bad at it. So, let's try this guy. We'll see what happens. Oh, yeah! And we're off. Let's see, which direction am I facing? Oh, I think I'm already in good shape, so. This might be tough to get into orbit because it's kind of a small vehicle. I bet I can get it into orbit, but the question will be, can I do anything useful with it? Once I get it into orbit. Look, we're burning through fuel pretty quickly already. And I feel like it's kind of slow off the pad. So far, so good. Space Lobster control to launch mission control. We're on a nominal trajectory. Where are we going to? This one, we're just gonna throw this into orbit. And then I'm gonna go get a Falcon 9. We'll try to land it again. Because we got about half an hour until they try for another launch for Rocket Lab. Countdown restarted. Oh, let's. Did they start the count? Oh yeah! Wow. Whoa. Okay. Well, hold on. We'll do that in a minute. They got 17 minutes on the clock. That's sooner than I thought. We got to pitch over. Don't try this at home, kids. There we go. All right. Just very violent pitch over. That's okay. No big deal. Just like the professionals do it. There we go. That's pretty much what you don't want to have happen. We're talking about that horizontal strength. We do not want that. We're actually gonna pitch down. We're kind of our apogee is kind of climbing a bit high. We don't want that. We're gonna lose some efficiency here. Uh-oh. Oh. Well, uh-oh. Well, we'll just let it roll. We're gonna let it roll all the way around, and then we'll start our engines. It's like acrobatics in space. There we go. Alright, get rid of that. Oh, no! What? No! Oh, no! Wait, well, how did that happen? Oh, no! I was trying to jettison the payload fairings. Oh, there goes our rocket. Oh, no. Well... well, this is gonna be a suborbital CubeSat. And our second stage, somehow, this is not, yeah, Space Lobster, mission control, we've had a slight anomaly. This mission will be ending sooner than expected. I don't know where stage 2 is, well, how did that even deploy? It went through the payload fairing. All right, let me match up, so they're counting down. They're at 14 minutes here. Let's see. Can we? Pretty close here. So that puts us at a launch time of about. That's a launch time of about 7:12 a.m. my time, which is 11:12 UTC. That's kind of interesting. Let's see, are they still playing music here? Hold on. Nope, they've gotten rid of the music, so good. Okay, well, there's our CubeSat with a gorgeous view of the Earth. The problem is it's going to be very much suborbital, and it's going to re-enter. Uncontrolled re-entry, just like the Chinese booster from a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. Where did our second stage go? Second stage is just gone. That thing just yeeted out of there. Oh man.
We're approaching T-minus 12 minutes in the count, and soon our operators will conduct another go-no-go poll after the hold. Let's listen into mission control and check how we're tracking for our second attempt of the day.
All right, we're gonna try. Katie B says you're wonderfully terrible at Kerbal. Oh, isn't that the fun part though? Oh, okay. You need more practice. I think I intentionally like to not practice. I like to just go with the flow during the stream. It's a lot more entertaining that way. All right, well, so...
All stations
Oh,
LD
jeez, scared
on
me.
mission cord, proceeding with the go no go poll for launch. Stage,
Stage is go.
avionics,
Let's go.
GNC,
GNC is go.
beacon,
Beacon is go.
T1,
T1 is go.
GC,
GC is go.
PLS,
PLS is go.
RSO,
RSO is go.
MET,
Met is go.
mission management,
Mission management's go.
recovery,
Recovery is go.
LD sub,
LD sub go.
executive.
Exec is go.
Go no go sequence complete. We're at T minus 11 minutes, 21 seconds and counting. We'll go for terminal count to T minus 10 minutes. From this point on, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
It's,
GC, LD mission.
LDGC.
Proceed with sequence 50, bad terminal checks.
Copy proceeding with sequence 50, pad terminal check.
it's like deja vu. We just did this. Although, there you go. Asian Cuber says that go no go sequence would never be too old to hear. I know, I could listen to, I wish SpaceX...
Avionics, LD mission.
Go ahead.
Proceed with avionics terminal checks, sequence 51.
Proceeding with sequence 51.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Space Lobster to launch control, sequence 51, please.
LDGC on mission cord.
Go.
Stage 1 igniter pressures verified, hydraulic pressures verified, S1 pre-valve open, pad terminal checks complete.
Copy that.
All right. Let's see. Manuel Imboden. Thanks for the super chat. Says watching from Zurich, Switzerland. Really appreciate you doing this stream, Tori. Have another cup of Joe on me. Well, thanks. Thanks, Manuel. Thank you very much. Sorry
Stage LD mission.
LD stage.
Proceed with sequence 52, stage terminal checks.
Oh, we're on to 52 now. Thanks for the support there. Appreciate the super chat. I'm out of coffee here. Oh no, I'm not out. I'm almost out of coffee.
GC LD mission.
LDGC.
Proceed with pad ready for launch, sequence 53.
Copy proceeding with sequence 53. Expander switch to high power for flight.
Getting a lot more mission control chatter this time around. Now I'm out of coffee. Are they
Stage 1 and stage 2 high voltage batteries ready for flight.
Comes that siren sound again? I don't know what that is. I don't think it's an actual siren, but maybe it is. I don't
All
know.
engine blips are nominal. All engines are ready. The stage terminal checks are complete.
Copy that stage.
Are you from New Zealand? No, I'm not from New Zealand. I'm in Rochester, New York. Are they attempting booster recovery? Yeah, kind of. Like, they are the first stage booster. This is the second time they are going to recover it. They're going to do a parachute soft landing in the water. It's not their full recovery operation, which they're expecting with a helicopter catch and all that kind of stuff. So they're not quite at that point yet. They're going to do another one of these splashdowns. So they're planning to do 3 splashdown tests and then move on to the helicopter catch. So this is the second splashdown test where they're going to parachute down, soft land in the water. That is that's the plan for today. So they will recover it. At least that's the plan. So they will recover this first stage booster. They will not refly it. It's not reusable.
Avionics LD mission.
Go ahead.
Proceed with sequence 54. AFDS enable for flight.
Proceeding sequence 54.
There you go. Flight termination system being enabled now. So we did this once.
AFTS is green and enable flight.
Copy.
We did this once before, but we got to about 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and then they called a hold. Interestingly, though, so now we got strongback retraction. The last time around, I don't think they retracted the strongback, did they? Now I can't remember. I remember saying, like, all right, here's strongback retract, and nothing happened. So that was kind of, maybe they didn't do that on purpose? They didn't command that? I don't know. Because they knew the upper level winds were bad? Not sure. Manu Outdoor. Thanks for the super chat. Says again, a coffee from Zurich, Switzerland. Well, thank you very much. Also, another Manuel. Well, they're perfect. That's not the same person, right? It's the same, yeah, different people. Well, thank you very. That's an interesting coincidence. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the support there. Oh. It's another siren. It's a longer siren. This sounds like an actual siren.
LDGC on mission.
Go.
BCS disabled. Pad auto sequence is armed. Pad ready for launch.
Copy.
Here you go, Steve.
Recovery LD mission.
Go ahead.
Proceed. Confirm recovery as goes at green.
Affirmative.
And monitor them from the airborne.
Affirmative.
Avionics LD mission.
Go ahead.
Proceed with sequence 55. Enable recovery systems for flight.
Here you go, KDB, our local.
Proceeding with sequence 55.
KDB's our local down in New Zealand. She says it is a siren. It's audible for a decent radius, and they go off a few times as a warning that there's a big, flamey, possible explosive thing that's about to go up. Well, thanks for the
We are at T-minus 4 minutes and 42 seconds and counting. The strongback has been retracted for flight, and those upper-level winds are currently playing ball. From here on out, we'll listen into mission control as they proceed to T0.
All right, upper level winds looking hopefully better now.
All stations and missions, LD. From this point on, there should be no red flags in the critical LCCs.
One thing to keep an eye on, my favorite part of the Rocket Lab launches is the ignition. Like, the ignition is so powerful. I say it every time, but like when you get down to T-minus 3, 2, and then ignition happens, like that ignition is like, it's just, it's so, yeah, it's so powerful. Like that's, watch for that. When we get down, if hopefully we launch today, if we get that, when we get to about 2 seconds, that last, is just, it's awesome. I can't wait. Let's see. Caesar Anita's, one of our regulars. Thanks, Caesar, for the super chat. Oh. Sorry, the audio cut out for a second. That was on their end, not mine.
HVB reports.
Copy that, avionics.
All right, here we go.
VCON LD mission.
LD beacon.
Confirm flight computer as goes a green.
All as goes green.
Lock auto sequence and confirm.
Auto sequence locked.
All stations, we go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes.
Here we go. We got to this point already.
This time LDs go for launch.
This time LDs go for launch. We did that once already. We got to get past 213. We made it to 213 last time. Can we make it past? Come on. All right, we made it. We made it further than last time. Here we go. Let's do it. Is that a big rocket? No, it's actually relatively small. 1.2 meters in diameter by...
These are on internal power.
What do we say? 56 feet in
All,
height?
stage power is disabled. Vehicle is on internal power.
Oh, I thought he said hold for a second. We're good. We're still good. Things are okay. Keep going. You can do anti-geysering disabled. So anti-geysering is basically...
Box load complete. System into recirculation.
Yeah, that anti-geysering basically stirs the tanks around so you don't get heated pockets of like liquid oxygen that can boil up from down lower in the tank. So that's a system they have in place, and they're going to disable that here in a minute.
Anti-geysering disabled.
There it is, right there.
High flow engine purge enabled.
Come on, baby. You could do it.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
Water suppression system coming on.
Deluge activated.
Remember, the water suppression system is really for sound vibrations. Protect the rocket.
T-minus 20 and counting.
And the launch facilities. Watch for that. The ignition.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
That sound.
At T plus 30
Stage
seconds
one
into the
propulsion is
mission,
nominal.
Electron is well on its way to space after its 20th liftoff from the pad at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. We had a great view from the tracking cameras of the
Entering
power
stage
of
one,
those
burn up
Rutherford
detect mode.
engines, with Electron clearing past 700. Sorry, it's clearing well on its way to space right now. And very soon, Electron will approach max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure. And this is the moment when the forces against the launch vehicle are at their peak during ascent. So let's listen in for the
Vehicle
call that
supersonic.
Electron has cleared that
Good
gate.
ship run 1.
Oh man, that sound is so awesome. Coming up on max Q. This is where those up.
Max Q.
There it is. There's max Q. This
DB discharge nominal.
is right where those upper level winds were presenting a problem about.
Max Q cleared.
Entering ship run 2.
There we go.
There's the call out. Electron has successfully passed through max Q, with propulsion continuing nominally. In about a minute, we'll be coming up to 3 events that happen back to back during flight. First is
Guidance
main
is
engine
nominal.
cutoff, or MECO. This is when the 9 Rutherford engines on Electron's booster throttle
US
down
jet
before
station.
shutting off completely to slow the rocket down before the second event. That's when the first stage separates from the rest of Electron as it continues with the third event, ignition of the sole Rutherford engine that powers Electron and the satellites to orbit. With that stage separation, Electron's booster begins its journey back to Earth, and so will begin our second Electron recovery attempt. We'll hopefully have a live camera feed on that first stage to watch that descent take place, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's wait
15
for the
seconds
call
to
out
go.
for those 3 events.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
A lot of cheering as they went through max Q. That's right where those upper level winds were giving us a problem about an hour ago. So we've made it past there. That's good news.
And MECO confirmed.
Separation. There we go. Looks like this camera's frozen.
Recovery.
And analyst recovery, proceed with sequence 59, stage 1 recovery operations.
There we go.
Computing landing zone.
Stage 1 is
As
coming.
you've seen, we've had a successful MECO and stage separate. No, there's been no ignition, sorry, but on your screen, we'll keep that view and see what we can come back to you with soon.
Yeah, what happened there? Stage 2 doesn't look like it ignited. Did stage 2 ignite? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I missing something? Did stage 2 ignite? That didn't look like stage 2 ignited. It looked like it did for half a second. Uh-oh. The speed is still climbing. Uh-oh. Oh, no, they took the telemetry off. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I think we're in bad shape here. I don't think stage 2 ignited.
Okay, so it looks like we've had a loss of telemetry. We'll come back to you with more information as soon as we have it.
Oh, no. Oh, that's a problem. Look at the guy in the back of Mission Control. He's like, ugh. That's the second stage didn't ignite. Like we saw it looked like it started, but then you saw the glow of the engine just go away. Oh no. That's a problem.
Space Lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
They got a problem. Yep. Well, I'm gonna throw. This up here. I think we gotta. There's no T-Teb. Yeah, I know there's no T-Teb. But that's. Oh, we waited all that time. And now we got a problem. It's gonna deorbit. It's not gonna make it to orbit. Yeah, second stage is gonna. It's gonna be a problem. I mean, it might not. Well, the problem is the second stage is where the money is. Like that's their customer, BlackSky with the 2 microsatellites. They're gonna lose it, and it's gonna deorbit. Yeah, it's gonna deorbit because they're not in an orbital trajectory. The sadly ironic thing is it's pretty much going to be the same track that I just flew in Kerbal. It's going to be suborbital. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, so the only good news is
an update from Rocket Lab Mission Control. We are experiencing a telemetry issue with today's mission and therefore do not have live views of the vehicle to bring you at this time. So we're going to end today's webcast and bring you updates via our social media channels. Thank you for tuning in to today's mission. We'll see you back here soon.
Yeah, they're just going to call it. Yep. Well, it's all your fault, Tori. Here you go. There's Joe Barnard's assembly there. Yeah, all right. We'll oh no. Oh, we're gonna watch that again, but oh, that's the problem. So, yeah, Zara says, so it will crash back to Earth? Yeah, the second stage is going to come back. I mean, it'll probably rip up in the atmosphere, but it's not going that fast, so parts of it may survive and splash down in the ocean, but that's a problem. They say they're experiencing a loss of telemetry, but I think we got a bigger issue than that, because this is let's go back to where it happened here. So we had we'll go to this view. So we had let's see, play. We had successful separation. Right here. Here's our separation event. It did seem like look at right there. There is some sort of ignition, but then it died. Watch the engine bell up at the top. See the glow go away. So like that kind of, I can only speculate what the issue was, but it would seem like maybe there was some sort of issue with the turbo pumps themselves. Maybe they stopped feeding fuel, which they've had that issue before on I forget what is it, like mission their 16th flight, maybe something like that, where they had an issue with the turbo pumps not providing enough fuel and the engine just flamed out. It kind of seems like that's the same thing again here. So here's separation. So separation was good. We get boom, ignition. And then this camera eventually comes back, but that engine glow just fades away, slowly dying out. And I'm watching the speed. Oh, I guess the speed is going down. Yeah, I thought the speed was going up. The speed's going down. For a second, I thought speed was going up, but because you look at it quick, it's like fluctuate. It's like going up and down, up and down, up and down. But it's definitely, overall, it's trending down. And then they took the telemetry away. Yeah. Oh, bummer. How explosive would the second stage be on an unknown re-entry? I mean, well, that's why we fly over the ocean, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it could be pretty explosive. It's probably going to break up in the atmosphere, because if it's uncontrolled and there's no atmospheric protection there from the heat of re-entry, I mean, it's still going 8,000 kilometers per hour, so coming back into the atmosphere at that speed is still going to be pretty violent. Probably break up in the upper atmosphere. Pieces probably will make it to the ocean and splash down, but that breakup will, I mean, you probably could get a bit of an explosion there. All that, whether it's an actual explosion or just depressurization, I mean, it's going to get ripped apart. I mean, all the fuel tanks are under pressure. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, they said they lost telemetry, but like the second stage, just it ignited and then it lost it. Okay, we got ignition. It's a weird looking ignition, like. So the camera view on the left, it looks weird because that thing kind of yeets off to the right there. Like that's the first stage. I'm pretty sure. So I think the camera on the left is a camera from the second stage looking back at the first stage here. It ignites, right? We have an ignition, but then you see right there, like kind of this is what you would expect to see, but then you see, it looks like we've got some flow separation, kind of some unusual like swirling of the fuel there. That's where you get this. I need like a telestrator so I can draw. But up here in this region, right there, that kind of bit of fuel there kind of looks like some flow separation from the nozzle. Like it's basically, that's where it's flaming out. And then you can see up here, we lose the glow from that second stage. And how quickly, let's see. We slow down, boom, ignition. It really doesn't speed up at all. I'm looking at the speed. And really it doesn't, yeah, nothing gets out of control. And then somebody said it looks like it spins out of control. Well, I was kind of looking at that a little bit because just because of that ignition, like where this thing just yeets off to the right there, like, I mean, it's hard to tell whether that's like that could be a normal course correction there. That it's, you know, it's a really hard to see that perspective. I mean, could it be spinning out of control and that's why the engine shut down and that's why they lost telemetry? Because it was just spinning out of control? Maybe. But because it was a night launch, like we really have no outside indicators to kind of see what the orientation of the vehicle is. Like that could be completely normal. That could just be stage ignition and then flame out. I mean, you would expect to see that quick acceleration away from the first stage booster. That's completely normal. So, well, that's a shame. And then this view of mission control here, where they all have those solemn looks. Any updates from Rocket Lab? There you go. Spaceflight Now says the upper stage of Rocket Lab's Electron launcher appeared to tumble just after engine start following shutdown and separation. The upper stage then appeared to cut off. Rocket Lab has ended its webcast. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. Looks like TVC's gimbaled that engine a lot. That's from Chris G at NASA Spaceflight. I mean, it could be, because that did look weird. It did look really weird. For that, like, when I watched that at the time, like, I would expect to see, after staging, like, I would expect to see it go away from the booster, but not have the booster just yeet off the side like that. I should probably stop saying yeet. That's kind of... like, I mean, it just takes off to the right. Like, it's out of there. I mean, that Mr. Philped here says, how accurate was your Kerbal? It's a bit scary, actually. I mean, honestly, like, it is kind of freaky. If you missed the Kerbal session, go back and rewind and watch my second stage with Kerbal. Like, that's pretty much what happened today. Like, we were all laughing and joking a little while ago, but that's kind of what happened. It was almost exactly like what I just did in Kerbal. That is weirdly... it's kind of scary foreshadowing there. Anyways, yeah. No news from Rocket Lab, but oh man. Well, yeah, it seems like then the question would be, I guess, is like, did the engine shut off because of, like, why would the engine have cut off? I guess there could be a couple of reasons. It could have been an auto cut off if all of a sudden the telemetry was way off. It could have been, if it is tumbling like that, they could have, like, you could get all sorts of, like, I don't know, you could have like cavitation or like helium bubbles in there or just loss of pressure. That could have caused engine cutoff, but yeah, this doesn't look...
Space lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
Doesn't look good. You jinxed it with your Kerbal launch. I know, right? Obviously not my intention, but kind of scary how accurate the Kerbal launch was. Oh, that's such a shame for them. That I feel so bad. Because that's... I mean, they're a pretty young rocket company. Like, they're trying to push their way into, you know, doing more and more of these flights. They're getting into reusability, but like, if they lose the first stage during their reusability attempts, not a big deal, right? That's just helping them save costs. The main goal is to make sure that your customer and their payload, your satellites, get into orbit. Like, when all is said and done, that's the part of the mission you have to do. And that's where there's a problem here. And this is an operational mission. So I saw a couple of people say like, "Oh, it's okay to fail." Yeah, it's okay to an extent, but at the end of it, like, this is not a test. This is an operational mission. Like, they just appear to have lost their customer's payload. So somebody spent time and money to build the satellite, and now it's gone. But that being said, there's always that risk. All these satellite providers have insurance, basically. Well, I shouldn't say they have it. They have the opportunity to have it. I would assume that they would pay for that. But they would generally have, the satellite provider would generally have some sort of insurance against failure like this. So the satellite provider should be covered. It's really going to be like the time and the labor and the delay in building their constellation and their network. You know, that has a cost, maybe not a monetary cost to, well, it probably has a monetary cost to it, because now they're not going to be able to service, this is for the BlackSky network. They wouldn't be able to service their customers until they can get another launch down the road. So, yeah, that's a problem. Could the high winds have caused that? Well, possibly, but I don't think so. But I don't know that for sure. I mean, it is possible that, you know, maybe it got so far off course by upper level winds that the second stage tried to like correct hard. But I don't think, that doesn't seem right. Although, so I would say that's not likely. But I can't completely rule it out. Are they recovering stage 1? Yeah, so I started saying the only good news is, like, they could get some operational benefit out of this, at least for themselves internally, because stage 1 separated successfully, and so presumably stage 1 will be able to go through the recovery operations. So they should still get parachute and splashdown of stage 1. I would expect that would still be fine. Question is, I guess, was it on course? And did they, you know, what caused that second stage to gimbal hard over like that? I mean, I'm assuming that that's what it did. We don't know that for sure, but it did seem like if we back that up, I mean, we've watched it a million times. I should probably put up the replay text. Like right here, ignition, and then that first stage just out the side, which kind of looks like that engine gimbaled hard over, and then it just tumbled. There you go. Maddie said the speed was going up and down. Maybe it was spinning. Yeah, that could be. That is kind of interesting that the speed, the speed of the vehicle was going up and down. If you watch that speed indicator up at the top there, you can see it, it is kind of like it's trending down, but it's not just constantly going down. It's kind of like doing this on the way down. So, yeah, it's possible that speed, because they lost telemetry. At least that's what they said. I don't know if they actually lost telemetry, because it still looked like they were receiving telemetry. They just took the telemetry off the screen. But they said they lost telemetry, which if it's spinning, that could easily be possible, because it's really hard to receive telemetry if your vehicle is spinning. Maybe it bumped into the interstage. Maybe, but it didn't. I don't know. It didn't really look. I didn't see anything that looked like that, and it didn't like the separation appeared nominal until engine ignition, right? So here's our separation event. Right here, separates like that looks normal, and it's not until here ignition that first stage booster is just off to the side. Vic Vaughn says they might have thought that the telemetry was wrong because of the erratic behavior, and that's why they said they lost it. Yeah, maybe. It could also be, like, when you're in the moment like that, like, I'm sure they're sitting, like, they're going to be very careful at what they say, especially because their customer is watching. They don't want to be like, yeah, it's gone. They want to try to, like, really make sure that that's what happened. Shunt Sam says that's what they say for everything. That's their default end to the stream on a failure. That could be too. Yeah, they might have just been like, yeah, we lost telemetry. See you later. But yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, it's not good. Let's not. I mean, it's gonna be yeah, the teams will review, but yeah, it looks like it's gone, folks. It's gonna deorbitate. Yeah. Hope they have some kind of insurance. Yeah, there is generally insurance here, but it's still like it's still gonna be a hit. Like even if they have insurance for the financial aspect of it, it's still going to be a hit for Rocket Lab. Like Rocket Lab now is probably going to be delayed in their next flights. They're going to have to figure out what went wrong here. It seems if this was similar to their previous failure, like they may have to make design changes to the vehicle. We don't know. But they're going to have like whoever their next customer is that they're flying, they're going to want to go back to them and be like, yeah, okay, we got this. It's not going to happen again. We got you. Like whoever's on Rocket Lab 21 is sitting there going like, oh no. I mean, obviously whoever's on Rocket Lab 20 is also doing that as well, but did the rocket make it to any sort of orbit, or is it coming back down? Yeah, no, they were not orbital. It's gonna deorbitate. It's suborbital, so it's coming back. Everyone playing cool except the dude in the back who was like, I missed the rugby. Yeah, the guy in the back was he kind of gave it away there. Well, there's Peter Beck too, was right there. There's Peter Beck with his hands on his head. He's pretty, and whoever the other guy, I don't know who the other guy is next to Peter Beck. But right, let's back it up. We'll watch. Right, so we got separation, ignition, the first stage just kind of takes off there, or maybe it's the second stage that takes off and tumbles. Second stage engine just cools off. So it's obviously not firing. We got a flame out engine out there. And then they switch right to mission control. And our guy in the back there, I'm not sure who that is, but he gives it away pretty quickly. They're talking, they're looking. Everybody's looking at everything, and then somebody must have said something over their comms there that was like, yeah, it's... she gone. Everybody's staring at their telemetry. Oh, man. And yeah, next to that guy, so the guy right there with his hands on his head, that's right there is where he gives it away. Where he's like, yep, that's a problem. Right next to him on the right is Peter Beck, the CEO of Rocket Lab. I'm sure he's crushed as well. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. There you go. Rocket Lab just tweeted, an issue was experienced during today's launch, resulting in the loss of the mission. We are deeply sorry to our launch customers, BlackSky and Spaceflight. The issue occurred shortly after Stage 2 ignition. More information will be provided as it becomes available. So, yeah, there it is. It's their first failure ever. Not too big of a deal. Almost expected at some point. Actually, that's not correct. Actually, they've had a couple of failures at this point. We had, I think it was Flight 16, if we recall correctly. So they had, early on, there were a couple of issues, but the most recent one, I want to say it was Flight 16, where they had a kind of a similar issue. What was it? Pix or it didn't happen? Is that sounds like the right one. I think it was Pix or it didn't happen. So maybe that was not, let's see, this is 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Maybe it was 14. Which one? Flight 13, everybody's saying? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is. Yeah, 13. 13 was Pix or it didn't happen. That was back in July of 2020. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. Everybody's putting in Flight 13. Yeah, so it was Flight 13. Of course, it's got to be 13. Yeah, so Flight 13 was their most recent failure. And that, like, kind of a similar issue. We didn't have, like, that hard over gimbal that we, like, it looks like we saw today. I'm not really sure if that's the case, but on Flight 13, they had an engine issue, and the engine at the second stage ended up flaming out there on that one as well, and they never reached orbit on Flight 13. So yeah, yeah, of course it was 13. That one didn't make it either. So yeah, not their first failure, but they're still a young company. Obviously, we want to not have failures, but yeah, it's happened a couple times. So that's a problem. Space Lobster to Mission Control. This mission is lost.
Space Lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
Okay, well, Ashton Stewart said we just saw it from Wellington, New Zealand. Just saw the exact moment where the flame went out. Yeah, that's a shame. Joe says you just witnessed a payload loss. Yep, they lost it. Allison Roberts said that she got to see the orange glow from Pocky. What? I don't know how to say that name. In Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. Well, it's cool that you got to see, the launch as it started, so. Well, yeah, I mean, we always know that space flight is obviously a risky business. And, it's kind of cliche, but it is the truth that space flight is hard. Like, there's so many things that could go wrong, and only one way that it can go right. So, unfortunately, today was not their day. It's gonna deorbitate, and they're gonna... We never got to... So, the events list is up there. It says fairing separation. We never actually got to fairing separation, because we had stage 2 ignition, and it appears to have possibly tumbled out of control. The second stage, that is. We don't know that for sure, but at a minimum, we know that the second stage ignited and then flamed out and shut down almost instantly. Like it ignited just briefly, and then it was gone after that. So yeah, they didn't make orbit. But it appears to have gone off course, and then we had engine shutdown. That's what it looked like. So that's what we're gonna go with until that's our speculation until Rocket Lab tells us any other details, which I'm sure is probably gonna be a while, but that's too bad. All right, well, I guess that's where I'm gonna wrap this up. It's a sad way to end this. Kind of scary. If you go back and watch the Kerbal portion of this, that this mission kind of went the same way that my Kerbal flight did. Oops. Sorry. I didn't mean to jinx that, but we were just having a little bit of fun. So, any news on the first stage? No news on the first stage. I mean, it should have splashed down at this point, but I imagine they may be kind of quiet on the first stage stuff. I'm sure they'll probably tell us about the first stage at some point, but they're probably going to be a little bit quiet about the first stage. You know, kind of hard to celebrate a big successful splashdown when your primary mission of getting the satellites into orbit didn't happen. So you can't really take a victory lap while your customers have lost their payload. I'm sure they'll tell us about it at some point, but not surprising that they're not celebrating on social media about that right now. So, never made it to orbit. It's already split. No, we're talking about the first stage. So, second stage definitely didn't make it to orbit. The first stage would have splashed down a while ago. First stage could have still survived and done the re-entry stuff. So that they were intending to parachute that and do a first stage demonstration soft splashdown today. That could have still happened. They didn't really tell us much. And like I said, it's not surprising given that they lost the second stage and there's those satellites. So, okay, well, it's not the ending we hoped for, but thanks for joining today, at least. That was, I don't know, it was fun to hang around a little bit. I would have liked a better ending, but you can only, I don't know. It's a bad day. I don't know what to say. Bad day for Rocket Lab.
Space Lobster ate the T-Teb. That's the answer.
So I'm going to end it there. If you want to continue the conversation, consider joining our Discord. It's free. It's no cost. You can jump in and join there. We'll chat more about what happened today over on Discord. If you want to consider some, some more direct support, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube channel member, which helps me do stuff like this. So, all right. Well, that's it for me. I'm taking off. Probably going to go back to bed because it's not even 8 a.m. here, and I was up early. So, but thanks for hanging out for a bit today, guys. Sorry to Rocket Lab that you lost your flight today. But come back strong. We got this on Flight 21. And hopefully this will be the last anomaly we have to talk about with Rocket Lab today. So, all right, that's it, everybody. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. Sorry to Rocket Lab, but we'll see you next time. Have a good day, everybody. Goodbye.